Yes, Jack Kennedy, who's put himself on pole, having had to give best to Ben Curry in both races at Donington Park. Number 4, Jack Kennedy, who's got mixed memories of Brands Hatch, of course, having come so very, very, very close to being champion in 2012 until his bike let him down here at the final round on the Brands Grand Prix circuit. But earlier that year on the Martrain Yamaha, he had won here at Brands Indy. So Jack Kennedy, mixed memories of Brands Hatch. He starts on pole position. Ben Curry's alongside him for Geerling Kawasaki. He's not going to let the boy get too far away. Bradley Jones from Stallbridge on the Integro Yamaha, teammate to Jack Kennedy, completes the front row. Second row is headed by Jamie Perrin from Joe Francis, and this man, Ross Twyman, on the EHA Group Yamaha. Not such a good qualifying from his teammate David Allingham, down in an unlucky 13th place, alongside James Westmoreland, still getting used to super sports again, and Josh Owens, who the Liverpudlian is the leader of the GP2 class, the Moto2 class, on the grid in 15th place. Ben Curry leads after those two brilliant victories at Donington Park from Jack Kennedy and Tom Oliver, who was the brightest of the rookies, a brilliant third place for him in the championship, 5 points ahead of Ross Twyman. James Westmoreland returns and is on 21 points in 5th ahead of David Allingham. Tommy Philp and Draper Yamaha in 7th. James Rispoli, the new man at EverQuick Racing, is in 8th place. Tim Neve in 9th and Bradley Perry 10th. 11th place for Danny Booth on 8 points. Robert Kennedy, who's qualified very well here, incidentally, in 9th place, is in 12th. The second equipped racing bike of Bjorn Espent is in 13th place, ahead of Brad Jones, who'll be making the most, he hopes, of this qualifying. Joey Thompson, Sam Wilford, Dan Drayton, Harry Truelove. Dan Stamper, last year's Superstock 600 champion, is also up there ahead of the single point for Matt Wigley of the Wigley twins from Cannock in Staffordshire. Dickie's Bitty Supersport, race 1, the grid. Jack Kennedy, Ben Curry, Brad Jones on the front row, Jamie Perrin, Joe Francis and Ross Twyman on the second. Behind them, Tom Oliver for SGR Racing Yamaha, ahead of Dan Stamper and Robert Kennedy. And then the man from Florida, James Rispoli, ahead of Bradley Perry and Kurt Wigley in 12th place. And then I mentioned that Allingham, Westmoreland and Josh Owens, the leading Moto2 bike behind them. Tommy Philp, Danny Booth and Sam Wilford. Bjorn Estman, Tim Neve and James Hillier. Interesting to see Hillier having an outing on the Supersport bike, of course. Road specialist, multiple podium finisher in the Isle of Man TT. So Hillier, who rides for the JG Speed Fit team, for Pete Extensor's team on the roads, is back there on row 7. Altogether, 36 riders on the grid, including another race specialist from the roads. That's William Dunlop of the Dunlop family there, right near the back on the penultimate row of the grid. Howling 600s then, ready to go. Oh, a good start by Curry. He gets the power down so much better than the two Yamahas. And the two Yamaha teammates there slip back to second and third, and a great start then for Geerling Kawasaki and Australia's Ben Curry.
Yeah, it looks like Kennedy was having a little look up the inside, but you're right, Jack. Just timed it absolutely perfect. Flew off the start of the Curry.
Dropping down the hill into what was once called Bottom Bend. And you can see that Jamie Perrin's made a lightning fast start. Remember that Perrin, unfortunately, knocked himself unconscious during practice at Donington Park and wasn't allowed to take part in the racing. But you can see that he's come back with a bit of spirit here, because he's already danced through into third place ahead of Bradley Jones. Yeah. So Jamie Perrin from Kettering into third place. Yeah,
no, that's good. I mean, he qualified well in fourth, and you know, he's going well there on the Yamaha.
Look at this, the front two once again. But is there anything that jumping Jack Kennedy can do about Ben Curry? So Cuzzer leads the way.
Yeah, I think, I mean, obviously Curry, last time out at Donington Park, it was Curry on the green, Geerling Kawasaki in the lead that took 2 wins, and behind him, number 4, Jack Kennedy, who took 2 seconds. But I think that Kennedy has definitely got, you know, I think he's definitely got a reply for him here.
He needs to find it soon, doesn't he? There's the Dubliner, number 4. 30 years old now, Jacko. Remember, he had 2 very, very capable seasons on the World Supersport scene, finished 7th and 12th in those 2 years, and got himself a World Supersport podium in Portimao in Portugal in 2014. Jamie Perrin, though, looking good at 46.92 for Ben Curry, 46. 46.99 for Kennedy, 46.92 for Jamie Perrin. So Perrin matching the place of the leaders.
Yeah, and just to give you an idea, that record's a 46.17. So, oh, look at that, a lot of smoke coming out of that bike. He needs to get offline sharpish, and he's doing exactly that. So let's hope he hasn't ridden around too far with that. Gushing out smoke, so some sort of oil leak there. So what have we got at the front? It's Curry, Kennedy, Perrin, Jones, Francis, Oliver, Twyman,
and I think the red flag's out, James. I think the red flag's come out.
So
what a shame.
Just his bike blue, so they're just having a look. That's number 23.
That's I don't like to try it. Serge Kravchenko of Latvia on the Motors Gruppa Motor Parks Triumph.
So it's always difficult when it's like that, but as you can see, if he's gone round and spilt some oil, the organisers have just got to stop it, got to check the surface just to make sure there isn't some oil spillages which will cause an accident. So that's a big shame. The race was just getting going, but there's no choice.
So Integral Yamaha waits to welcome their two riders. Oh dear, yeah, he was right in the middle of the track when that happened. Oh gosh.
Well, hopefully with a bit of luck it might have stayed in the belly pan. It's making a lot of smoke because obviously it's going on the exhaust, but the guy's having a good look, and that's actually right down. So that marshal, I can see they're sort of below us here, having a little look round, inspecting that track, and you can see, great marshalling here anyway, great organisation. So they'll have a good look now.
Are the soles of a pair of boots the best way to do that then, James? Is it as simple as that? If you feel it slippy underneath your feet, then...
Well, there's not much better way unless you want to get down and exactly that. I mean, to be honest, testing it with the foot, testing it with the finger. I mean, you can see it normally because it is a slick, oil. It's quite obvious.
Number 74, York's Joey Thompson, who's riding for Team ILR. That's Ian Locker's crew on a Kawasaki. There is the number 23 bike pulled well off the track with an elderly pair of well-scuffed leathers on the Latvians' shoulders. So Jack Kennedy then looking to see it. Well, he has a chance of a better start. Both these boys have, because they were certainly done by the Gearlink Kawasaki off the line, James. He really got the jump on them.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know whether that's just a little bit of better reaction. It's just a slightly better drive off the line when you just timed your clutch and your revs a little bit better, or whether it just could be just a fraction lighter. There's so many variables.
This is Richard Kerr. He's one of the lads who's leapt up into this class direct from Moto 3. There's the bike. Quick restart, original grid positions.
Yeah, that's good news, just to get it going quickly on this beautiful day here.
So they're rolling the bike, the offending motorcycle off then, and the original grid positions mean that Jack Kennedy once again... James, the outside line into Paddock Hill, presumably that is the favourite. You wouldn't want pole position to be on the inside, the lower end, with that short, sharp run to the apex, would you? Which would you prefer? No,
it's always been that way. The outside line for whichever way the first corner is has always been the preference, and actually it works. There is points on this grid where inside and outside is better, because some have a little bit less of a hill, so you can get a better run, and some are downhill. But as we have a little look at Ben Curry, that was the man leading, the man that leads the championship.
And it's so cool and calm now, isn't he? Because he's got a dietitian, a personal trainer. He's really worked on his fitness over the winter time.
And just said then 16 laps. They've knocked 2 laps off it. It's no longer 18 laps, it's 16 lap. Quick restart just to get it going again and get everyone out there.
So some of these lads, of course, don't have the luxury of a garage, so this nice weather's very, very pleasant for them. Not have to. Number 69, Ryan Dixon. He, of course, is the cousin of Jake Dixon, who runs in British Superbikes. The older cousin, incidentally, by a substantial distance.
He'll appreciate that, Jack.
Sorry, I beg your pardon, Ryan. No, it's just that Jake was saying, give him a mention. And there's 65, the GP2 Motor 2 bike of Josh Owens.
And I tell you what, these are
That's a nice
beautiful.
thing.
I mean, firstly, just even the paint job, but when you look at it, the preparation in it, the look on it, proper full Moto 2 bikes, and they are absolutely exquisite. Obviously, look at all that carbon as well. I mean, they are just delicious. I was looking at those with great envy, especially when they went bang into each other at Donington on the warm-up lap. I was like, oh no. But it's nice to see them back in their former glory.
So Josh Owens on board there, the former 125 champion. And this is within the Jewson-backed EHA Racing Garage. Ross Twyman, a happy-go-lucky Lincolnshire lad.
Yeah, I mean, he was good last time out, wasn't he? Got his got a podium at Donington Park, and he's kind of flipped round. Allingham was definitely the stronger rider last season.
Look at those two old chaps there on the right and left, who back in the Colin Edwards days. Yeah. And Adrian Gorse was Colin Edwards' crew chief when he was winning the World Superbike Championship on the Castrol Honda. And Mark Whitfield there, who was on the left of picture, he was involved in that team as well. That man was also part of the Castrol Honda team. I've got some of these guys have such a big and colourful history in the sport, James, on all sorts of championships.
No, they do indeed, and experiences. It's just you can't buy experience, and that EHA team are doing a fantastic job.
That's a suitable place to sit. That's one of the Wiggly twins relaxing there. He looked like he was ready to be taken away, really, didn't he? Just take me somewhere away from this.
You're right, though. It doesn't look uncomfortable, does it?
It does look comfortable. This is a fairly crowded pit lane with all the guys without garages to their name, just relaxing here. Oh, and look at this. We reckon spring has arrived. It actually arrived on the Wirral last week, but it's definitely arrived here at Brands Hatch today. We hope that it might carry on tomorrow when we've got another bank of racing throughout the day. And this is what it's like here today. The bees are out, the sun is out, and the grass is growing.
Well, that's a busy pit lane. Everyone just getting ready, for this restart. All the tyre warmers are on, generators, and there is a Spitfire.
Beautiful.
Or is it Hawker Hurricane?
I don't know which it is, but it's certainly, it looks like a Battle of Britain special. What a great sight. I'm hoping to be able to see it in real life, but it's not in our visible view here from the commentary position at the moment as we look out across the main straight and across to Graham Hale Bend and Cooper Straight. Beautiful. Tell you what, Mr. Whittam would know all about this. He could fill us in. I mean, we've got a restart coming up over 16 laps. Pit lanes opens at 5:20, and there'll be 2 warm-up laps as per usual around this very short, snappy circuit.
Yeah, it's only about 30 seconds away.
Oh, look at this. This was earlier in the day when we first saw this beautiful aircraft.
And you see the double bubble. You see it's got a pillion spot there as well on this one.
That must be exciting, eh? The equivalent is exciting, of being on a racing motorcycle on the pillion. But that looks pretty mint.
I'm pretty sure actually that's a Hawker Hurricane rather than a Spitfire. But then again, I'm going to get shot down if that is the if I have got it wrong. Whit would know.
I'm very impressed that you're chancing your arm there, James. So the lads re-emerge then. Ross Twyman there, last man out. He'll be starting, obviously, from... I say he'll be starting from, and I've put my grid away. He'll be starting from the second row of the grid in 6th place. Lovely scenic route round here down to the... This doesn't take them long to get back to the finish. Oh, OK. I thought they were going to do 2 warm-up laps, but it looks like they're doing just the one. Oh, there's 2. This is the sighting lap, and then the lads stop here before hitting the road again. James, did you enjoy Brands Indy as a track to work round?
Do you know what? I loved it. I won quite a few races around here, a couple of superbike races, 250 races on Grand Prix bikes, and it flowed. I just used to really enjoy it. You had to be kind of ruthless with it. You had to find your rhythm. You really had to be, when it came across back markers, use them to your advantage. And it was easy. Little mistakes cost you a lot here, so it was important to keep things tidy and neat. But I really enjoyed it. It was also one of my most local circuits, even though it's not that local. So yeah, it was always had a good turnout of friends and family and stuff as well, and it was good. Yeah, I used to really enjoy it. I love Brands.
I did this on this very short circuit. What was that kind of rhythm that Bradley Ray talks about? Was that the secret to it, really, getting into that early?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I always found that it was one of those tracks I used to like to just go out because it's so short and just do a nice group of laps and pinch a bit here and add a little bit of corner speed there and brake affectionately, just pick at it, and then you find your rhythm coming, and then you just get into such a groove. And when it goes right around here, it feels fantastic.
And it never begins to feel repetitive because of the concentration level of keeping everything where it needs to be.
The fact that you're whizzing around every 45 seconds, yeah. I mean, I don't know, you're just concentrating so much that, I don't know, your brain doesn't feel that way. You know, you're just concentrating, it's split, might as well be one long ribbon rather than, 20 laps.
Well, we've certainly had some action round here already today. We've had a packed programme of races. I mean, you can always catch stuff on Eurosport Player that you're not getting live on television. We've already covered things like the Superstock 1000 first race here. We've already covered the Junior Super Sport 600. There's stuff that's always available on the Eurosport Player if you want to check it out there. Now then, we're on the warm-up laps, and Jack Kennedy leading the way.
He is indeed. Obviously, Kennedy is on pole. And it's interesting, there's only a handful of guys that got into the 46s. His pole position was a 46.4. And, Jack managed to do 6 46s. Ben Curry did 4 46s. And then no one else managed more than one of the other riders that were in the 46s. So those two definitely look like they've got the edge to me. And you would have to say that Jack's probably just got a fraction more than Benjamin Curry, but having Curry coming off 2 wins, he knows how quick he is. He's a very confident youngster, and he knows that he's going to take that fight. He leads the championship, so I don't think they're going to be able to shake each other.
Jack Kennedy, Ben Curry, Bradley Jones on the front row. Jamie Perrin, Joe Francis, Ross Twyman on row 2. Notice the times. The lap record still belongs to Kyle Ride from 2015, 46.17. Tom Oliver is in 7th place ahead of Dan Stamper and Robert Kennedy. Oliver and Stamper, of course, rookies from the Superstock 600. And then James Rispoli back in the category I think he's strongest in, ahead of Bradley Perry and Kurt Wigley.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see Rispoli have a good ride.
It would.
Yeah, I know he got fourth, didn't he, in the race at Donington.
The moment I mentioned how well he was doing, yes, down he went and became one of the Craner Curves Club.
There was a lot going on at that weekend because it was so cold, wasn't it? They were struggling at that left of Craners, lots of riders. Right. Here we go.
And this is where James is looking completely over my shoulder here. He's standing up now because he's looking down. We've got that view, exactly that view, from the right-hand side window of our Eyrie up on top of the grandstand. So we can watch well, I'll watch the screen. James can watch what's going on down there as the lights prepare to go on. And then when they're off, this is where Kennedy's surely wants to get away a bit better. Oh, this time he does. Curry, though, matches him. Bradley, and again, that Kawasaki of Michael de Vidal's is so strong off the start. Oh, there's a few, elbows out.
Kennedy went right out the outside. Wow. You don't see that very often. And he's got the line as well. And Perrin there in 3rd.
Perrin, again, this time gets round the outside of Bradley Jones, round Druid. So Perrin's so impressive. And Bradley Jones getting knocked about a bit in the first 2 or 3 bends here.
I'm very impressed with Bradley Jones, though, so far. I mean, putting it on the front row, he's done really well.
But now he's got to get into the kind of the punchy early laps of the race, and Perrin there, who qualified just behind him, just off the front row, they're already opening up a gap on the second of the Integro Yamahas. This is going to be a fascinating race. These 3, remember, Perrin appeared to have the pace of the 2 championship leaders in the first race.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he seems really up for it in his body language, his pace, and these 3 already have just shaken a bit. And you've got to be very careful in these early laps of the race. You don't want to give too much away, you don't want to make any mistakes, but also equally on a track like this, it's so hard to pinch back. You lose half a second. It can take you 5 laps to pinch that back. 10th here, 10th there. It's not an easy track to grab back time.
And Perrin on the Slide Codor Go Racing Developments Yamaha. There is the fella from Kettering, the swimming pool engineer who is nicknamed Reggie for some reason. But I tell you what, there's nothing Reggie about the way he's riding right now. He's looking right on the pace of these 2. He'll be smarting, of course, from having been prevented from riding at Donington Park. He took it very well, but any form of concussion these days tends to prevent any medical passage into race day. Kennedy, Curry, Perrin, Jones, Francis. Joe Francis having a good ride. The Cheshire boy in 5th, ahead of Tom Oliver. Rispoli 7th. Allingham has got a much better start. He's ahead of his teammate Twyman, who way out-qualified him.
And behind them, finishing out the top 10 is Westmoreland.
A former runner-up twice in this championship, James Westmoreland.
Yep, 2010, 2016.
He, of course, is on the 2nd of the Gearlink Kawasaki's. I was impressed with that, James. That was good knowledge there. That swept out in front of people. People are always nagging me about that kind of stuff, and you just whipped it out there. Very sensible. Very sensible piece of scribble. Oh, and here comes Curry, gets inside Kennedy. And Jacko can't do anything about that. He's got to let the Australian through. Fastest lap, Curry, 46.849.
Yeah, so still early laps here. Remember, 16-lap race, so they're just getting going now. Obviously, everything up to temperature. Beautiful day here at Brands Hatch. Sunshine, warmth. We forgot what it feels like to go racing like this, didn't we, Jack?
Yeah. Norma and the late Norma and Michael Davidoff, they've come so close to this championship in the past. And Ben Curry's been with them a couple of years now, and he's started to show real promise with his race wins early last year. Ended up with a slightly inconsistent season, but he's so well prepared this year.
Yeah, watch number 4, Jack Kennedy. I think he's going to carve the inside here at Paddock. He's just had a really good drive up. He's got the inside line, and he's going to make that pass back, identical pass back that Curry did him the lap before. Is he going to run a little bit wide? No, absolutely spot on.
James, people say there are no passing places on the Brands Indy, but we see plenty of overtaking, really.
Yeah, that's the best passing spot, and also coming up into Druids. You can do a bit of a block pass and the final turn of clearways just after Surtees. Yeah, there are passing spots, but they're not easy. You've got to really make sure your drive is great, so you allow yourself to be in a position to go past.
Already on the 5th lap of 16 here, they're virtually 1/3 race distance, and they're just edging away from Jamie Perrin. Massive moment for Ben Curry. Wow, he did rest to say that was almost a James Whittam moment. That was massive. And he did not back it off, James, or at least he didn't look as if Cuzzer backed it off, did he?
Well, he had to back it off a fraction just to stop the slide, but if you watch his back wheel here, it really is, you're so hard on the gas, and there he goes. Look at the black line he leaves, but he's got a lot of feel, he's happy with the bike, and, you know, that happens sometimes there, and you can see the team are a little bit more worried.
Michael Davidoff on the left, and Ben Wilson, the man who took him to within a point of the British Supersport Championship in a season-long duel with Alistair Seeley on the right-hand side. Still recovering from that nasty leg break 2 years ago at the Northwest 200, but Ben very much an integral part of the Geely Kawasaki team here in the garage.
Yeah, certainly is.
BC gets the board, and he's obviously instantly picked himself back up. 46.9 against a 47.0 for Kennedy on that lap. And the riders behind us, Joe Francis has nicked 4th place from Tom Oliver. Bradley Jones squeezed back to 6th ahead of James Rispoli, David Allingham, Ross Twyman and Dan Stamper. So we've got 3 rookies, 3 absolute rookies in this class running in the top 10.
Yeah, that's impressive. That's impressive. And there you go, there is Joe Francis, obviously on the MV. And as you say, he's got Oliver and Jones, and then Rispoli as well. Good to see Rispoli up there.
It is, isn't it? But I daren't say anything in case it all goes pear-shaped for the Equip Racing recruit for 2018. And the leader of that little group there, Joe Francis on the Qingdao MV Augusta. Just clear of Oliver, Jones, Rispoli, Allingham, Twyman and Stamper as fast as that.
Yeah, and you can see fastest lap there for Ben Curry, the man in second on the green Geerling Kawasaki. And these two now away, they've got a second over Perrin in 3rd spot. And it really is, as we thought before, those two had dominated the qualifying. They've both been the guys to put in the fastest laps, and almost certainly those guys 1st and 2nd in the championship, 1st and 2nd in the race. That's where your winner's going to come from.
Joe Francis, the tall spider of a Cheshire lad, he looks quite suited to this MV, James, running there in 4th.
He does. I mean, it's we saw he was very unlucky last year with lots of injuries and little niggles, so it's nice to see him getting going again. And that looks like, is that number 83?
Robert Childs on the JRC Racing Dawson Escalator Parts Europe Yamaha, so
that's up at Druids, so that's coming up the hill, you know, in a similar sort of position to where we saw O'Halloran go down. There's those little stutter bumps. Down he's gone.
Just over half distance in the Dickies British Supersport sprint race, James, and this is what Kennedy's got to show, that he can run with Curry, not just run with him but potentially beat him if he's going to because remember, he already trails by 10 points in the championship, 2 races per round.
Yeah, it's a long way to go though, Jack. And I think, you know, we know Curry is also exceptional when it comes to wet weather riding. You know,
notice the big sticker stroke paint job on the side of the fairing of that beautiful blue Yamaha, Appleyard macadam. This is very much still Robin Appleyard's. Remember the reigning champions with Keith Farmer last year. And Robin had worked so hard and so long to get that Super Sport Championship under his belt. And he finally did it last year with that very familiar silver scheme. But now I like the Yamaha blue. It looks great. That's how a Yamaha should be, just as the Kawasaki behind it should be green. Having said that, that distinctive Jamie Perrin bike, we can always spot it any time.
Yeah, Yamahas have had some great paint jobs over the years, haven't they?
Yeah.
You go back to the yellow sort of block of the 70s American Yamahas, you know, to the white motocross bikes with their little red block, and then obviously the blue Yamahas of recent years.
It was weird actually, because the motocross bikes, the white tended to be European and World Grand Prix paint job, whereas back in the 70s and early 80s it was the yellow remained the Yamaha US livery. Oh, we got the first of our back markers coming up, 54, Mike Veldhuizen of the Netherlands on the GP2 MFS Race Engineering.
Now, this is also critical, Jack. This is, you can really win or lose races around this little Indy circuit with back markers. And Jack Kennedy, he's gone straight through. He lifts him. In fact, he lifts him for both of them. But if you can be clever, if you can position yourself well, sometimes it's just as simple as luck. But sometimes it's about being brave and a little bit ruthless. But you can really make a difference. He's just going to open up an opportunity here. No, not quite on that lap. So lap 12 of 16. So just coming to this latter part of the race now. Jack is in charge, and they're coming through. They're dropped into the 47s. Look at that, both 47.3. So they're not going to be breaking the lap record here this afternoon, but not 46.8 is the fastest, and lap record's 46.1.
Ben Curry's got, he's getting some rear end movement there. He's really putting the power down hard, isn't he? The leading GP2 bike is Liverpudlian Josh Owens down in 17th place. James, we saw that Moriwaki get eaten up with the Dutchman on board. Why essentially are the Super Sport bikes so much superior to the GP2 models? Yeah,
I mean, obviously the GP2 models, you know, the Moto2 bikes have got a better chassis, a stiffer chassis, slightly better suspension. Obviously these bikes are based on road bikes with different internals. They've got better brakes, but they are quite a lot down on power to these bikes. So that's one of the main reasons. But I do think, as Alistair Seeley proved last year, with one of these, if you put one of these riders on it, I think they'd still be at the front.
Yes, I'd forgotten that Alistair and that Spirit was they were really impressive last year, weren't they? There's Perrin in third place. Here's the battle going on between Francis and Bradley Jones was making a move there ahead of Tom Oliver. And I think, did Bradley squeeze through? No, he didn't quite. He's trying to make a move on the Qingdao Envy Augusta in black and white there.
Yeah, back
as they storm onto the start and finish straight, and Curry got great drive then, but just couldn't quite. He got alongside, but that was all.
Well, I wonder whether he's actually just measuring him up a little bit there. I think Jack's got to be careful. I think, look, we're on lap 14 of 16, so now's not the time to go, but he might well look at that lap 15, lap 16, how brave are you going to be? Are you going to leave it to the last lap, or are you going to give yourself the opportunity to do it again? So I think we're going to see that move. And there's another back marker. They're not going to hit him right on this bit quite yet, but you can see Curry's intent. He's all over him, although he lost a fraction of time there. So they're going to probably meet that back marker. They're not going to meet him by the end of this lap, but they will meet him on the next lap. So again, this is it. They're going to start the penultimate lap as they come out here at clear race. And again, Curry has a look, and he's going to go now. He's got the line, lap 15. So there he goes.
Kennedy, there's no point in trying to resist that. He's got to tuck back in and try and shade him up the Hillwood Hill, which he does.
And there's the back marker. And look at that from Jack Kennedy as well.
That
and
was tidy.
It was. And that could actually be the ideal position. The back marker's out of the way. He's not going to cost them too much time.
Wow, that was brilliantly done by Kennedy, and it absolutely alerted the back marker there's something going on. So now, that dazzling pink helmet of 21-year-old Ben Curry. Racing knuckle to knuckle here with Dublin and Jack Kennedy as they go round clearways into the Clark curve. They are approaching the final lap. This is where Curry will want to get some big drive. He doesn't particularly get it. Is Kennedy going to run defensive as they come down towards us?
Yeah, he's got to.
Curry slips in.
Kennedy so late on the brakes there. Is he going to get back to the apex? Yes, he does. He's got to move across and cover himself up to Druids here.
Oh.
He doesn't.
Wow.
They're going to appear in a second on the right-hand side. Oh, he's still got it. So,
and then around Druids, dropping down the hill now to bottom bend, as it was once called, rather aptly. Now Graham Hillbend and Jack Kennedy looking to finally inflict a defeat on the Gearlink Kawasaki. The Integro Yamaha still has the advantage as they drill through the bottom of Surtees. Flick it right into McLaren's. James, oh, this is all down to the last bend.
Yeah.
Now Curry's trying to tuck underneath on the Kawasaki, and we know he's quick to the line.
Well, it's all about keeping it even on the floor. I think Jack Kennedy's just going to get it. But Curry falls
across to the line. Oh, wow.
What was
that
it?
was an absolute width of a tyre. Kennedy gets it by 0.027. And Perrin holds on to third place ahead of Francis Jones, Twyman, Oliver, Allingham, Rispoli and Dan Stamper in 10th. But that was a terrific finish.
Wasn't it just?
Michael de Midolf can't quite believe how did they lose that, because that Kawasaki surged, didn't it?
200ths of a second. I mean, you had to keep it neat. He doesn't know he's lost it.
No,
he's not sure, but it was Kennedy kept it neat, kept it disciplined coming out that last turn. And in fact, that's changed now. It's 6 thousandths of a second. Oh, look at that. Someone's down on the... Is that the slow down lap, or was that the last lap?
No, I think that's the last lap.
Oh.
It's one of the Wiggly boys.
Yeah. What a great win for Jack.
That matched the 6,000ths of a second by which Tommy Hill snatched the British Superbike title right here from John Hopkins in 2011. 6,000ths of a second separate. I thought it was just about the thickness of the tyre.
Yeah, I mean, it originally was slightly different and it changed. But look at that, that's how it looked. He had to keep it disciplined, couldn't afford a slide. Curry's trying to get it tighter there, and then it's a run to the line. He's pulled out the slipstream, and look at the line, it's just coming, and no, you can just see, or is it there? He just gets it anyway. That's what 6,000ths of a second looks like. What a great race.
Wow. So Jack Kennedy, number 4, does manage to, and this will be... Michael thinks, did he get it then? Did that power of my Kawasaki make it through?
So
Jack Kennedy and Ben Curry now, for the first time, have confirmation of the result.
Yeah, and that's good for the championship as well. Curry's took 2 at Donington. That's down to 5 points now. I mean, almost certainly the champ is going to come from one of these two, because these two just look that little cut above. But I've got to mention Jamie Perrin as well in 3rd.
Really
fantastic ride from him. Really good. Great to see Francis there as well on the MV in 4th. That's another strong ride from him. There is Perrin. So a really good ride from him.
So let's check out the results then. Jack Kennedy takes victory on the British Supersport sprint race here at Brands Indy. Ben Curry in 2nd place by that margin. Jamie Perrin hanging on there very strongly and very commendably to take 3rd place. Well clear in the end, a couple of seconds clear of Joe Francis, who was involved in that race-long battle with the 2nd Integro Yamaha of Bradley Jones and Ross Twyman, not to mention Tom Oliver on the SGR Racing Yamaha. And then a little gap back to David Allingham, James Rispoli and Dan Stamper. 11th place goes to James Westmoreland, making his return to Supersport and onto the smaller Gearlink Kawasaki. Kurt Wigley finishes in 12th place ahead of Robert. So Kurt Wigley must have fallen after he'd crossed the line. Robert Kennedy 13th, Brad Perry 14th. Tommy Philp and the Draper Yamaha team nabbed 15th and the final point ahead of Wilford. Josh Owens, GP2, K-Lex in 17th place ahead of Danny Booth, Tim Neve and Bjorn Estmund. So let's check out the championship standings. The gap at the top has closed. Ben Curry on 70, Jack Kennedy 65. That's how vital that race win was. Tom Oliver still retains 3rd place, just 4 ahead of Ross Twyman. David Allingham 5th on 28, James Westmoreland on 26. Tommy Philp in 7th place on 20, level with James Rispoli. Jamie Perrin in his first outing after being declared medically unfit at Donington Park in 9th. Bradley Jones in 10th, a point behind. 11th place for Joe Francis on that after that result for Qingdao MV ahead of Bradley Perry, Tim Neve, Robert Kennedy and Danny Booth. Dan Stamper level with him in 15th.
Right, seen some close finishes here at Brands Hatch over the years, haven't we? That one right there up with them. Jack Kennedy taking the victory in the Supersport sprint race from Ben Curry, and we'll be speaking to all our podium finishers and wrapping up everything we've seen here at Brands this afternoon when we come back from the break.